Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And that is how we get into it. Just like that, another brand new live edition, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Happy Thursday morning, everyone. Happy March 2nd as we roll along. 7 o'clock. We'll be with you from 7 a.m. to 9 today. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond, 256-576-4977. That's how you can join the program this morning. And we get you started. We got a lot of basketball, some football conversations, a lot of good things out there to touch on today. And we're going to try to do it in 120 minutes. We start you off with college basketball last night. A tale of two games, you could say, inside Coleman Coliseum. Auburn jumped out to a 40-33 halftime lead on Alabama last night. In fact, they would push it to 17 in the second half. But at the 10:27 mark, Alabama wakes up. Really, they get going. They outscore Auburn 26-9 from that point on. They outscore them 15-10 in the extra frame, as it's a 90-85 overtime victory for Alabama inside Coleman Coliseum, a place where they were perfect all year. They also win a regular season SEC title along the way. They're second in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, Scott, I was blessed to be there for 97.7 The Zone, and as I told the fellow writer and media member on Press Row when the buzzer sounded, to be honest with you, I don't think a team lost that game. I just think Alabama won. I don't think it's a cliche. I think, Auburn played at an unbelievably high level. I thought they played their best game of the year. I know they didn't get the result they wanted, but yeah, I certainly thought that they played up to their full potential. I mean, at one point in time, they were shooting nearly 55% from the field in the first 30 minutes. They were shooting 9 of 13 from three. They still finished 12 of 20 to shoot 60% from the three-point line, and that's double what they usually shoot. They had a lot of guys like K.D. Johnson, Trey Donaldson, even and to a degree, Alan Flanagan, just make unbelievable plays. Now, they didn't get the kind of performance out of Wendell Green. That's probably why they didn't win. But I thought Jonai Broome, he did foul out with 7+ minutes to go. But I'm just saying, like, he was much better than the first time. And while he was on the floor, he was extremely impactful. I thought. And then Jalen Williams was outstanding until he fouled out in the overtime. Yeah. I just felt like, honestly, that and Alabama didn't play their best game, but they played with the heart of a champion in the last 10 minutes. I mean, it was 62-46, Scott. I mean, I looked at the and I know it grew to 17, but it just did not look like that Alabama was going to be their night. Auburn was just playing at such a just tremendous pace and level, offensively, defensively, with such a connected freneticism, and I mean that in a good way. I mean, they came out like the desperate team that they needed to be. Like they knew what they had to do.
They were playing and are still playing for their NCAA fate.
And the way I equated it was, and a lot of people that covered it last night and even watched it, didn't see this game. They're probably too young to remember it. But for, I'm getting older, and there were some older head media there. To me, it was like watching the Alabama-Auburn version of a Duke-Carolina Classic, or really even Duke and Kentucky in 1992. And of course, the stakes were even higher for Duke and Kentucky. We're talking Elite Eight. Team that wins, Duke won their second straight national title. Kentucky could have easily won the national championship. But Alabama was going for an SEC outright title, which they won with a 90-85 winning. And you just mentioned it, Auburn is trying to get to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, they are.
And I think they proved beyond a shadow of a doubt they're one of the top 68 teams. But the issue is they probably need to get another win. Even though I don't think that loss is going to hurt them, so to speak. I mean, I know the committee now talks about not eye tests, but net rankings and things of that nature, which I'm sure you're going to talk about. But again, and Ken Palm and things of that nature. But I just felt like what last night symbolized to me is that this is a hoop state as well. I know football will always be king, but Alabama and Auburn right now, their programs have never been healthier. I mean, you saw a couple of coaches that, in my opinion, you could argue are in the top 10 in the country, and that's Nate Oates and Bruce Pearl and what they've accomplished at each school. And that was one of the best crowds I've ever seen at Coleman Coliseum. It was so loud, so into the game, and it was a Wednesday. Okay, so it shows how healthy basketball is getting in our state, and UAH, you and Steve do a great job with that program.
Yeah,
John Schulman has continued.
Their home crowd has gotten better and better, and a lot of that this year. And for UAH, they got to do things a little differently,
right?
But a lot of that is Bill Penny did a great thing this year and selling out the upper thing and allowing people to come for free. But yes. Home crowds have gotten better in both places, Auburn and Alabama. But coincidentally, both teams are winning as well. 166 games in this series between Alabama and Auburn. Last night's overtime game marked the 13th time in the series history that it went to overtime. And as you can imagine, after the game, Nate Oates very pleased that they got to win this thing at home.
Night tonight for us. I mean, it was an Auburn-Alabama game. We'd expect it to be a great game. Bruce had his guys ready to go. To be down 17 with just over 10 minutes to go in the game, I couldn't be more proud of our guys. Second SEC championship in 3 years here. And it was especially special tonight to do it in front of our fans. I mean, they were great tonight. I really want to thank our fans for all their support. They brought the energy. I thought it fueled our run there in the second half. We achieved a lot this year. I mean, we swept our in-state rival, which is a big deal around here. We went undefeated at home. It's not easy to do. Like I said, we won the SEC regular season. So we still got things we want to accomplish ahead of us. The guys have worked hard. I'm super proud of them.
That's a little Nate Oates. And you can head to our YouTube page and watch and listen to the entire Nate Oates press reaction. And Drew, he's right. I mean, they may not have played their best game of the year, but you're still fortunate enough to get the win at home.
Well, they are. And a lot of that's credit to Auburn and the way they played and the way they came out and the mentality. They did a really good job once again. Both games, honestly, against Brandon Miller. They've been able to contain him, but Brandon has still found ways to affect the game and won the Hard Hat Award last night. He had 8 rebounds. He had 17 points. Once again, Scott, he got to the free throw line and converted. I believe he was 10 for 11, so a lot of his points came from the line. He only had 3 field goals made, and he struggled from the three-point line, but the beautiful thing about this Alabama team is they are so deep. And I'm sure you talked about it on Zone Center a little bit, but there was a situation last night. It was very strange from the standpoint it came right at the end of a dead ball that would have been a media timeout. But Noah Clowney Noah Gurley, pardon me there, Noah Gurley and Rylan Griffin, left the bench too soon, and Charles Bediako. And then they ended up ejecting Bediako and Griffin, and those guys weren't a part of the end of the game, because I think the rule is they passed half court, I believe, because it was a 10-minute delay to get everything straight as to who was going to be ejected in the game. Yeah. And those two were along. With one of Alabama's assistant coaches or part of the staff that was on the bench, the support staff. There were people that had to leave the floor, unfortunately. And then Jonai Broom fouled out on the play, and that ended up being a big play. I know we heard a little bit of Bruce Pearl in the Zone Center talking about that. That was his 5th foul with over 7 minutes to go. That definitely, affected Auburn. There was the technical on Javon Quinterly, but I can't tell you enough. For the second straight game, Javon Quinterly was the MVP, even over Brandon Miller. his quickness and speed and his recovery from this knee injury is remarkable. Auburn could not stay in front of him. I mean, he just continued to make plays, and in that game, and especially Alabama, remember, with over 10 minutes to go, they only had scored 46 points. And from that point, they scored 44 counting time. He didn't turn the ball over one time and ended up with 24 points off the bench. And then I was very proud of Jaden Bradley. Jaden scored only all 6 of his points in the overtime. He bounced back because he didn't play much in the last game due to JQ playing so well. But it's what I've said, though. It's been a village. I mean, Alabama didn't have Bediako. They didn't have Riley Griffin. And remember, Riley Griffin was the MVP at Auburn coming off the bench. This is an Alabama team where somebody's always picked up the slack. It's a special group of players and coaches. Because it was probably the greatest comeback I've ever seen in person Alabama make, consider what was at stake, and it was just a remarkable 10-plus minutes of basketball, and I give Auburn a lot of credit too. I mean, I think they're definitely an NCAA tournament team. We'll see what happens on Saturday, with Tennessee at home, because they have to get back up and play, but they if they play at that level, they can beat Tennessee. They can make a run. They showed they're a very, very good basketball team, and I just credit both sides with how they played.
One of the things that is tough to do and is talk to a coach right after a ball game. Now lots of times I've learned this with Coach Schulman. After a loss, you let them walk away. Bruce Pearl last night after the loss jumped on the Auburn radio network, and just to tell you how much this one meant to Auburn and how emotional Coach was, take a listen.
Club played its heart out tonight, Bruce.
Yep, we played well. We played hard. We should have won the game. Very, very disappointing. Obviously they made some plays. We had a hard time staying in front of them at the end of the day. I'm just sick and tired of our guys getting smashed down there. Smashed!
Talk about the final possession in regulation, Coach. Message to your ball club after this one, Bruce.
Just we played hard, played well. If that's the number one team in the country, come on the road, hostile environment. Yeah, but we needed that one to get the NCAA, and we didn't get it. Dylan Cardwell's hurt. He's probably not going to play against Tennessee because of his injury. We need his physicality. He got fouled down there at the end of the game. So,
Coach, just talk about what Saturday represents now.
We'll get ready to play Tennessee. We were incredibly outmanned at the end. Had 4 guys on the bench in foul trouble. Joke!
Just the raw emotion there from Bruce Pearl. I mean, that's literally right after the ball game. It just tells you, I mean, for Alabama, they're a number 1 seed in the tournament. They're a number 1 seed. I mean, we know now they're the SEC champions. For Auburn, they're battling. Just the raw emotion there from Coach.
I mean, it was, and that's what I tweeted. I mean, it was raw emotion and just an incredible effort. And it's something that you respect it because they're so emotionally invested in what they're doing and competing at such a high level. And I mean, it shows how much it means to both sides to compete like that. Certainly, I thought for much of the game that Auburn was going to find a way to win. Even when Alabama made a run late, I thought when Wendell Green made a big 3 to put them up 4. I thought that they were going to find a way to make enough plays to potentially still win the game. A lot of times when a team like Alabama gets on a roll, it's like an avalanche, and it's really hard for you to steady yourselves and punch back, but they did. Even getting the tie late on the Allen Flanagan layup. And then they had the last shot to win in regulation because they made a great defensive stop. I mean, it happened right in front of me where Mark Sears was forced out of bounds, and Wendell Green gets the ball screen, and shoots the three, and it's no good at the buzzer. But Auburn certainly had their opportunities. They played at a very, very high level, and certainly the Saturday is going to be even more interesting because look at the results. I mean, they got lost in the shuffle because everyone was concentrating on Alabama winning an SEC title and everything, but then you start looking at your phone and you get in text and you look at the scores and look at what Vandy did.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. Let's get a break in. When we get in, we're going to go over all of the SEC from last night. What does it mean for the SEC standings, the net rankings, the Palm rankings? We're going to go all through all that right after this break.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Sounds like we've got two different accidents working on 231 northbound around Bartee Road. Just got Winchester and Homer Nance. That one's coming in with injury and possible entrapment. Got a wreck at I-65 and 565. That's the 340 exit. Vehicle off the road there. Got one reported at Point Mallard and Country Club in Decatur. Looking at that intersection, though, I don't see any problem for traffic. And we had a wreck Mooresville and Humphrey. That's north of Old Highway 20. That one reported as an injury type. You could lose up to 4 sizes in 4 weeks with the 2030 Fast Track Weight Loss Program. Find out more at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Valley Equipment Rental has grown by leaps and bounds over the past year and is adding more and more equipment to their already impressive fleet. Valley is a locally owned family equipment rental business serving the entire Tennessee Valley. They concentrate on the local contractors, building repeat business and specializing in long-term rentals for their local contractors. The benefit of long-term rental is that they stay on top of their assets. If something you own goes down in the field, you have to stop and fix it before you can finish the job. With Valley Equipment Rental, they will fix it on site or bring you another machine while that one's being fixed. More importantly, Valley is locally owned and operated, which means when you have an issue, you can get someone on it right away, right here in the Valley. Heck, ask for Ross Roberts, the owner, if you like. Try calling one of the big box national outlets and asking for the owner. That's if you can even get through the automation. Buy local. Buy Valley Equipment Rental. Valley Equipment Rental has 2 locations, one on the North and South Parkway. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
What's your rhythm? Is it a curated wine and craft beer list, enjoying Nacho Tuesday with friends, or maybe it's sipping a mimosa during brunch on the weekend? Find your rhythm and feed your rhythm at Rhythm on Monroe in the VBC. Enjoy a delicious dinner created by Chef Becky Vibert and her team of culinarians. Drinks on the covered patio or upstairs on the rooftop bar beside a fire pit overlooking Big Spring Park in downtown Huntsville. Visit rhythmonmonroe.com to view menus, make reservations, and see what local musicians are performing. No matter what your rhythm is, find it at Rhythm on Monroe. Suffering from emotional pain and mental health conditions? Intensive Outpatient Programs, or IOP, is a rich addition to your continued individual therapy. Group members realize they're not alone and that others have similar difficulties. Hearing and sharing different ways to think and cope can be encouraging, empowering, and promote healing. In most cases, treatment is covered by insurance and no doctor referral is needed. Virtual IOP sessions available. Take your first step to wellness by calling 205-999-5247 or log on IOPServicesLLC.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. And we were talking, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? We talked to Blake Lovell and Chris Lee, and we were talking about Vanderbilt, and they couldn't go and lose some bad ones because the feeling around Jerry Stackhouse was, okay, starting to warm up a little bit. He's starting to turn the corner maybe, but the schedule was a little tough down the stretch. And we said that, Jerry Stackhouse may have picked up one of his bigger wins a couple weeks ago for the program. This last night probably topped that because you go on the road and win in Rupp Arena. Yeah, Vanderbilt goes on the road and knocks off 23rd ranked Kentucky 68-66 last night. They would lead the Cats 34-30 at the break and hold on there down the stretch to get a win over Kentucky.
Yeah, Jordan Wright, he made a kind of a one-legged fadeaway jumper just inside the free throw line with 2.6 seconds to go to give Vandy the 68-66 lead. It was tied at 66, and just a few short weeks ago, 69-53 win for Kentucky inside Memorial Gym. So for as bad, and you were sort of referencing that, Scott, as the disaster was in Baton Rouge, to drop that game, to come back, and I checked the game at the start of the second half, and Kentucky was down 5, so certainly I knew Vanderbilt was giving them a test. I still had doubts that Vanderbilt would find a way to win it on the road. But to knock off, and Kentucky's going to get into the tournament. I mean, they're going to be there.
Now they're 20-10 now.
But now Vanderbilt, this game is so intriguing coming up on Saturday inside Memorial Gym, because think about it, Scott. If Vandy gets the win at home and goes to 18-13 and 11-7.
Who do they have Saturday? I haven't looked up.
Mississippi State.
Okay.
And State is on the bubble too.
Yeah.
This is fascinating. Vandy has played their way to bubble conversation. I don't know.
Are they like last year's Texas A&M?
Where it's just too little too late, and you basically have to win the tournament? Probably. Now, we're going to ask Chris Lee that coming up at the top of the hour, and he covers Vanderbilt as closely as anyone. But to me, it's fascinating that Vanderbilt has got a chance to even be in the bubble conversation, and that they're going to have a chance to finish 11-7 and above Auburn in the standings. And remember, they beat Auburn on basically a buzzer beater as well.
Tiebreaker's not included in this.
Right.
Kentucky is 3rd in the standings, Tennessee 4th, Missouri 5th, Vanderbilt 6th. This is where it gets intriguing in my mind, and I could be wrong. Vanderbilt is 10-7 in conference play. Missouri is 10-7. Kentucky is 11-6. Tennessee is 11-6. What happens if Vanderbilt beats Mississippi State, Auburn beats Kentucky?
You mean Auburn beats Tennessee?
Or Auburn beats Tennessee. Missouri stumbles in their finale. Vanderbilt could somehow slip into the 4th spot and get a double bye.
How in the hell are they not in the tournament if they do that?
I mean, am I looking at this wrong? Am I think because Alabama, Texas A&M are 1-2 no matter what. Tennessee's 11-6. Kentucky is 11-6. Missouri is 10-7. Vanderbilt is 10-7. If Auburn beats Tennessee, Tennessee would be
And
11-7.
and Tennessee split, I believe.
Yeah,
with
so I don't know the
onions
tiebreakers there. If
from the
Kentucky
corner.
would slip in their regular season finale, they would have the tiebreaker over Vanderbilt would have the tiebreaker over Kentucky because of the sweep.
Well, no, they split.
Or split, but I mean, I don't know.
I don't know all the tiebreakers yet. 'Cause
Right.
Kentucky and Vanderbilt split. I believe Tennessee and Vanderbilt split. Tennessee did sweep Kentucky. Now we know that. Kentucky did sweep Tennessee. Pardon me. That's what I was trying to say. Kentucky did sweep Tennessee. Sorry, Jeff. That is the one highlight for the season. But they did, but again, then there's a lot of splits going on. And Vanderbilt does get the tiebreak over Auburn, though, because they beat them in Memorial Gym by 2 points. So it's really fascinating. Vanderbilt probably still has too much work to do. Like, they probably need to win, of course, on Saturday, and probably get a couple wins in Nashville. But it's still stunning to me
that we're saying those words.
I mean, they have a chance. I mean, you just made the point that with tiebreakers, what if they were in the top 4? I don't know. I mean, it's crazy because Auburn could beat Tennessee. If Auburn beats Tennessee, that would leave the Vols at 11-7. I mean,
well, they say go 500 on the road in conference play and win them all at home. That's the best recipe.
Right.
Vanderbilt is 11-5 at home, 5-6 on the road. I mean, they're really close to that mark that you. They did
have a lot of bad losses in the pre-conference.
That's what's going to hurt them. That's what Texas A&M had last year. Remember, they had those bad conference. They didn't have a great non-conference portion, and they heated up down the stretch. And
we do know this though, even though it's been a roller coaster. But I think he's good. I mean, now he might kerthunk it on Saturday against Mississippi State. We don't know, but I mean,
the inconsistency. That's what Vanderbilt fans are frustrated about.
I know, but I got to give those kids a lot of credit, Scott. They got shellacked at home by Kentucky, 69-52. To go into Rupp and win the game.
How Vanderbilt would have looked in the past couple of years if they would have had the entire roster that they were supposed to have.
We've had Chris Lee talk about that, how they've had the worst luck with like injuries and
he's
and
coaching now with his full assortment.
Remember, and I don't know how the committee will look at this. Their best player is Liam Robbins, the 7-footer. They can play, and he missed significant time with an ankle injury. If he had been available the whole time, what if they win even more games?
Pat from Tuscaloosa with us this morning. Good morning, Pat.
Pat, were you there last night, sir?
Yes, sir. 14 rows up, section B. And I saw that penalty when he threw the ball at the player. And, he was just trying to make the ball out on him.
Right.
It wasn't like he was trying to throw the play. It wasn't a penalty. I mean, hey, and what I called about this morning, though, in 2009, and Drew, you know everything about basketball. In 2009, the SEC put a rule in about coaches running their mouth about the sweet little referees. If anybody had a gripe with the referees, it was Alabama. I mean, Auburn had every call that was even close went Auburn's way, not Alabama's way. And, and they were just absolutely mauling our basketball players under the go. And but anyway, back to when I'm talking about, Bruce Pearl said that the referees were a joke after the game. If you're going to have a rule, why not suspend him and show him that he can't run his Yankee mouth down here in the South?
Well, I mean, it was just emotional, Pat. I mean, when you lose a game in that fashion, when you put so much into it, look, man, it's what Scott said. It's very difficult for coaches right afterwards to have to react, to go on their airwaves, with their radio network, or even do the post game. I listened to the post game as well. His Zoom with the beat writers, and he had calmed down some at that point, but it was still emotional. There was still some raw emotion there, and
that's why there's usually a 10. Most of the time, there's a 10-minute cool down off for a reason.
Yeah, it's really tough. I don't think they'll take any action against him unless he gets fined or something. certainly I tend to focus more on how Alabama overcame adversity. Think about it. Charles Bediako wasn't on the floor. He was only on the floor for 13-plus minutes. And his defensive presence is so big for Alabama. They didn't have him. They didn't have a guy like Rylan Griffin, who you saw it, Pat. You followed this team. He won the Auburn game on the Plains and in front of as great an environment as we saw in Tuscaloosa there was in Auburn. So they didn't have two key players. And Nate Oates, I give him credit. I thought he would play Nick Pringle a little more. I thought we'd see more of Dom Welch, but he could tell, I think, that JQ was on a zone and was feeling really good and playing really well. He rode with him. He rode with Mark Sears. He rode with Brandon Miller. We're talking they played 45 minutes of basketball. B-Mill, ended up with nearly 39 minutes in the game, 36 minutes for Sears, including a lot of big plays. And I got to give Mark Sears credit, too. He missed a three at the end of regulation that rimmed out, that he pulled up in transition that would have probably iced it in regulation. But guess what? They go to him right back for the same shot at the beginning of overtime, and he makes it. This group has got the most mental toughness of any Alabama team that I've seen. They are gritty. They compete, and that's the reason they came back last night, because they took Auburn's best shot. That was Auburn's best game of the year, in my opinion, win or lose. Yeah, I think it was their best game, and that's what it took to nearly beat Alabama at home. But Alabama finishes undefeated in Coleman Coliseum, and I got to give my guy B. Rich, who's an avid listener to our show, a shout-out. He made the point that Brandon Miller, we all know that he's going to the NBA, Pat. He finished undefeated in his career at Coleman Coliseum.
All right, Pat, thanks for the phone call, but we are up against a break. We got to get it in here. Brandon, I know you're holding as well, but let's get this break in, and we will continue to get to your phone calls. 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy, overcast sky through a good majority of the afternoon. We're going to maintain the opportunity for some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Some of those thunderstorms could be on the stronger end of the spectrum. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 60s. Some of us could see the lower 70s. Another opportunity for strong and severe thunderstorms moves into the Tennessee Valley as we head into Friday morning. Biggest concern here, going to be some incredibly gusty winds. Could be talking about wind gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour. Otherwise, scattered showers and thunderstorms through a good chunk of Friday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the upper 60s and lower 70s. That activity comes to an end Friday night. Saturday looks absolutely fantastic. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures hanging out in the lower 60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got wrecks all over the place this morning. Just got one at 53 in Reddy's section, reported with an injury. 6th in Prospect in Decatur is apparently no injury. Winchester and Homer Nance has got about 4 people hurt. Got I-65 and 565. That's the 340. They're reporting that one with injuries. Got one at Point Mallard and Country Club on the southbound side in Decatur. 2 different wrecks, 231 and Bartee Road. That's in Morgan County. Got Mooresville and Humphrey that reported as an injury type. That's north of Old 20. And we got a big backup on the interstate southbound 329 mile marker and an overturned trailer there. It's got traffic backed all the way back up to about the 332. Traffic signal problem, Clinton and Washington, it's on flash. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
You spoke, we listen. You want more local? You got it. More local programming.
Coach Sylvester Kroom joins us right now. Coach, finally, I got to ask, what would be your evaluation of one Wes Neighbors at linebacker?
I was very fortunate to coach Derek Thomas and Cornelius Benton and Mike Pitts and all those guys when they coached linebacker. It would have tested my coaching, really given my coaching abilities a great test if I'd have had to coach Wes Neighbors along term at that.
More local games.
Play action. Looks downfield. Heaves it along the near sideline. Has a man down there. It is caught. Touchdown, Madison Academy.
More local coverage you can't get anywhere else.
Now, I'm sure your next question is how many reps is he getting and who's he splitting time with and who's he competing with and what team's he on and where's he at on the depth chart, none of which we have an answer for.
We are your home of ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Let's talk about the X's and O's of family entertainment. Every parent in Alabama knows the importance of being able to draw up an activity that'll get you out of the house for a couple of hours. But it needs to be affordable. It needs to be family-friendly. Above all, it needs to be fun. Now, let's talk about high school sports. Bang for your buck, school sports provide the perfect game plan for your family. You'll enjoy all of the drama and excitement competitive sports offer. You'll be supporting the future leaders of our community in a meaningful way. Best of all, you can take the entire family without breaking the bank. Heck, you won't even dent it. Now, enough chalk talk. Let's get out there and see what's playing at the high school in your community. School sports. Good for our kids, good for our community. This message presented by the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. So what does the loss mean for Auburn last night?
Right.
The updated net rankings as of right now, Auburn is sitting at 37.
Yeah.
They were at 37 going into the game.
So they didn't move at all.
They did not move in the net rankings.
Right.
Ken Palm, Auburn is 29.
Yeah.
Through the games last night. So they are 29th in the Ken Palm.
Seems pretty solid.
It does, doesn't it? But
yeah.
The problem is,
what is Vanderbilt? I want to know. I'm just fascinated by that. Can you look that up?
In the net rankings, I got to go down here.
You keep going. So
I know I'm in the 79, 84.
Then they ain't got
84 in the net.
Yeah, if you're listening to these administrators and these people, and the bracketologists and these people that are on the committees and everything, that's bad.
Well, so Vanderbilt, this is
right.
where they're 4-1 in quad 2, 4-2 in quad 3, 5-1 in quad 4, which you really don't want to have a loss in a quad 4 game.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt, by the way, I'll just say this. Vanderbilt has more quad 1 wins than Auburn.
Oh.
Auburn right now is 2-9 in quad 1 wins. Vanderbilt is 4-9.
Well, but 84. But when
it has to be their non-conference
portion
of their
weak.
schedule. Yeah, where you have to win them. Auburn was fortunate enough to win, and Auburn's biggest non-conference win was Northwestern.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Brandon's with us this morning. Good morning, Brandon.
What's up?
Oh, y'all talking about 84.
I was showing Scott his 1984 present, man. That's pretty cool. Is it in mint condition?
Oh, some of this stuff that came out of there is time capsule-esque. I'm telling you what, 8-track players, Cat Scratch Fever was one of the 8-tracks.
Hey, the Czar would love that. The Czar would love that.
I'm just saying records and 8-tracks. Kids don't understand.
His bumper music is all 70s stuff,
Kids don't
man.
understand how good the sound on an 8-track is.
Yeah, but you listen to the Czar. All his bumper music is from the 70s. So he would love Cat Scratch. You've got to send that to the Czar.
No, see, I take your 8-track and I counter it with vinyl.
Well,
vinyl's
good. After 8 tracks, though, bro.
Yeah, but it's
but
like right there.
I remember.
I still got vinyl CDs that my mom owned way back
Hold
then.
on, you just said vinyl CDs. We mean vinyl records,
disc.
bro.
Okay, vinyl disc. Okay, there you go. Vinyl disc.
Records.
We're talking about records, dude.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell I did with it. My mother, we cleaned our house out. I had Appetite for Destruction as a vinyl record. I should have tried to find it, because I mean that's one of the greatest records of all time.
Always hated when the needle would get worn down and you'd have to go
sucked,
get
and then it
new
would
needles to put on.
Or if it got scratched, you couldn't fix the damn thing.
It'd go. It
would just be beep, 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 whatever.
All day long. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
I think one of the better ones was the push button input control, where back when TVs only had the coax coming in.
Oh, the coaxial,
So if you wanted to do the VCR, you had to get up and press the little button A, B, and C.
Yeah.
That was an expensive little device back in the day.
Well, I was just showing that to Scott just so he could play his DVD. I mean, his VHS tapes. You sent him,
VHS.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's so much things. I mean, my mind now is just racing with all these memories because I remember when my grandparents had an 8-track in their car.
Yeah, I remember when my grandfather had one in his truck, and then the Czar was rehashing stuff the other day in between XFL and USFL talk and all that, and Bassmaster. He was talking about. And Philip, I hope you're listening. He was talking about reminiscing and all this stuff, and because again, that's why I was talking about the 8-tracks, and I meant that as a show of respect because that was his era. He uses a lot of that bumper music, but he was talking about one of his friends had one of the first VCRs back in the 70s that cost like $1,200. And they considered themselves the luckiest people because they could actually record games, even though you had to. You had to make sure to probably record the show after just in case a football game ran over. But he would go over to his friend's house to watch VCR.
Yeah, because I always hated the time. Always hated having to try to figure out the time to set the recorder to start recording. And then
look, man, the drugstores used to love me, man, because I would have to come in there. I would come in there buying like 6-packs of VHS. And I mean, when you and I first met, when I was with the Huntsville Fly, I had the wrath of Bob Thornton on me one time because he told me to start recording. Remember the D League, the G League?
Yep.
The D League then. The D League was on television.
Yes,
and so he starts telling me, okay, Jerry, here's one of your jobs. You're going to start recording these games so I can watch them. But he didn't tell me. I didn't know he was being specific, like one game of a tape. So I'm taping 3 games to save money. I'm putting 3 games on one tape, and I'm giving him the tapes, and he's like, Drew, come on! I just did one at a time. In other words, I could have done an standard play, not extended play. Just use the 6 hours in 2. That's what he wanted me to do. And I was like, my bad, coach. Crap. So I had to start just putting them on one tape. I don't know where the hell they are now, but that just showed you we were still using VCRs in the early 2000s.
Oh,
sorry about my rant today.
Remember in grade school, though, the little TV on the cart and the VCR would have to be strapped down?
I mean, we would bring that sucker in there to watch the NCAA tournament. Luckily I had teachers that loved basketball,
I did too. We always
would watch stuff.
When Iowa made it, boy, we tried to get it in there.
One of the worst memories I ever had. We started at the end of school. It was peanut butter and jelly in South Alabama against Alabama in the first round game, like a 6-11 game, and Alabama was up by like 15. By the time I got freaking home and got, I was a latchkey kid, whatever the hell you want to call it. I let myself in the house. I sat down, and all I could do is watch Ronnie Ara's ass run across the floor celebrating because.
In
they came back and beat Alabama.
In '84, we talked one of our teachers into letting us watch the Cubs and Padres in LCS.
Oh, that was when the Cubs nearly made the World Series.
Yeah, and they lost to the Padres. We got to watch that. Because the baseball didn't, the NLCS, it was in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, the dang games were playing at like noon or 1 o'clock.
Yeah, they didn't play them in the,
Yeah.
I remember we had our history teacher back in the day. We did a whole bracket challenge with him, so every time during class, we pretty much had like a whole month off from class and we just spend time watching the NCAA tournament, keeping track of the brackets.
That's when you have a beautiful teacher, man, who's
probably got to
concerned about
stream those at that point,
exactly.
though, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was on cable TV.
Yeah.
It's on cable.
There you go.
We were just watching the cable broadcast.
You didn't have to get the bunny ears out.
This was before streaming was big.
Yeah.
This is like
y'all talking about.
Yeah.
Y'all talking about the bunny ears? We had some of those down there that had to be 5 foot tall.
Yeah.
And they had a third of a wrap of Reynolds wrap on them.
I was just going to say, to make them work even more, you had to put the aluminum foil on the edge and create it so that you could, It
was good stuff. I felt like the whole time I was doing that Dazed and Confused and Revenge of the Nerds should have been playing in the background. that way it felt time capsule appropriate. And then when I found the DVD player, not the little DVDs, the ones that are the size of a record, I thought I'd been in a time warp. I thought, did somebody, like a real person, actually own one of these things?
Yeah, I just found one of the Czar's old things, man. You just sent us this antenna VCR cable switch. I'm sure his buddy had one of these in the 70s. Yeesh.
If you had that and an antenna turner where you turned a little dial and the antenna would electrically turn outside on your house, you were balling in 1989.
And then he's got he sent us a picture of a what looks like a typewriter from my 1991 typing class with Brian Ritchie.
I
Holy
those
Toledo,
classes.
freshman typing.
I did everything I could.
UNLV Duke.
I did everything I could to get out of typing class.
Oh, I sucked.
Everything.
I sucked.
Everything.
I am not going to tell you. I just was terrible. I would. B. Rich could tell you this. I was more concerned with Forrest Davis recruiting magazines and Jeff Whitaker and doing all this other crap than I was typing. I was not focused on typing, man.
I did everything I could. I tried everything to get out of typing class.
Oh, I was not focused at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, what are we doing? I
walked into this room and it was like, what is it?
And
I mean, we had like 32 or 40 typewriters in it.
I mean, I'm like, what are we doing? I'm trying. I keep looking at my fingers. I can't do it without looking at it. I mean,
I know. That's right.
I passed somehow.
What do they call it? Chicken pecking?
Oh, yeah. Hunt and peck. Hunt and peck. That's what they called it. They called it hunt and peck. Oh.
What we were doing.
That was a suitcase model that came from the Rome News Tribune that you would zip the top of it up and put it in your car and take it with you.
Right.
So if you were doing an on-site story, you would just type it up right there. And you could do black or red. Absolutely amazing 70s technology, I tell you.
All right, Brett. Hey, dude,
man,
we are up against the break.
Great
Jeremy,
scavenger hunt that, Bear.
Yep, Jeremy, I know you're on hold. Give us 2 minutes, and we're going to get to you. We'll continue this conversation. All right, 256-576-4977. Jeremy, you're up first after the break.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got a new wreck coming out of Decatur, 2nd Avenue and East Moulton. Got a bus involved in that one. They're reporting it as no injury. They've canceled Himsey on 53 and Ready section. Still working Winchester and Homer Nance as an injury type. And I-65 and 565 at the 3-4. That one reported injuries. And we got a problem at the 329. That's near 36 in Morgan County. Got an overturned trailer on the interstate. That traffic's been backed up a couple of miles. Great summer start at the Y and at Camp Chalakee on Lake Guntersville. Overnight or day camp, kayaking, ziplining. You could go on the Giant Swing or the Blob, chalakee.org, or you could call the YMCA. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
As we flip that calendar into February, a lot of things happening. You got Valentine's Day, you got the Madness of March, and you've got tax season all around the corner. Thomas from Talent Heating and Air is in studio with us to remind us, Thomas, you don't want to forget about your heating and air system as well.
Yeah, that's right. During tax season is a great time to look at upgrading your system or making a repair maybe you've been putting off. We're going to help you out with that. We're going to do a $1,000 discount if you mention this ad and give you a little bit of an extra rebate this tax season.
And you also want to make sure it is tuned up and ready to go for that spring season.
Yeah, spring in Alabama can be 90-degree days, right? So we want you to be ready for that ahead of time, so you can give us a call, and we're going to do a $49 special for all the listeners of this.
All right, that phone number?
It is 256-503-4490.
It's Talon Heating and Air's $49 tune-up special. Give them a call today.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
The college basketball regular season is winding down, and the football specials at Humphrey's Bar and Grill are now going to extend into basketball season with football specials during every Auburn and Alabama basketball games. Don't miss Humphrey's game day specials from $2.75 Miller Lite, Yingling, Coors Light pints, $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold pints. Anytime Auburn or Alabama is on the screen, Humphrey's, always a party, never a cover. Located online at humphrey'sdowntown.com.
Now open, this is your invitation to experience the grand opening of ABIQ's new 10,000 square foot showroom. The best brands in home audio, home theater, and home automation. The place to see and hear and feel and listen and watch. The place where you can audition top brand audio and video equipment before it goes in your home. World-class brands now available in Huntsville. Come experience the difference. 1833 University Drive, just east of the Parkway at the all-new AVIQHSV.com.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. And Brett Drinker weighing in on Facebook aplenty this morning, saying that when he was in junior high, they let him play NCAA tournament on the PS2, the PlayStation 2, and then they also had a history teacher that did a bracket challenge, and whoever won got a free A.
My kind of teacher.
Yeah. Yeah, but if someone on the basketball team lost, they had to run suicides.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. We did a lot. We did the bracket stuff. We did the bracket stuff in school. But I remember back then, though, and it's still true, we didn't have the ESPN.com brackets.
Yeah.
So the paper bracket was everybody wanted a paper copy.
Paper bracket.
And you carried it around with you
I
all
never
the
did
time.
all those 5 brackets. So everybody does all these 5 brackets. I just was one,
You're not
maybe 2.
a fan of that still?
Maybe 2. I never did 3 or 4, 5 brackets. I guess the pressure's on this year, though, because the czar.
You better not lose. All right. You better. Let's get to Jeremy real fast. Good morning, Jeremy.
Man, so back when I was a kid, we had one of those antennas that my dad worked for a federal prison.
Oh, Lord.
And he had these guys make a antenna for us. Like, he bought an antenna, but he bought this stand, and it had the motor and all that. Well, we lived in Gadsden, Alabama, and you couldn't get the Atlanta stations, but if it was like cloudy and stormy outside, we could pick up TBS.
Oh,
wow!
And I could, but only when it was stormy, and I could get to watch like WCW Saturday Night.
Oh yeah, woo! That's all right, Chad. I tried to take it.
But in high school, we had all my teachers. I had mostly coaches as teachers because I played sports all through school. So that was a plus during March Madness because we would go down to the gym, and we had the field house. And in the field house, we had a flat screen TV back when they were built in, and it took 7 people to pick them up.
Oh, yeah. We had one of those a little bit ago, bro. I'm telling you.
And we had the whiteboard beside it, and we had the entire bracket on it, keeping up with everything. But we all had our own printout, and we all had our picks, and we'd turn our picks into our coach. And then we'd all pitch in $5, and we'd be ordering Domino's. And they'd be bringing Domino's to the field house. Everybody else is up in class, and we're all down there having a pizza party every day for the NCAA tournament.
That's awesome.
And
man.
like at the end of the tournament, you'd get like they would do stupid stuff like that for us. They'd give us like grades and stuff like that. But they opened it up, and it got shut down when they decided to open it up to like more students. And eventually we looked around and we're like, half the school is in this field house right now. How are we doing this? And then the next day we're like, hey, we're not going to be able to watch the game today, but because we got in trouble because we had half the school in the field house.
That's awesome.
But it was awesome. Good memories. I'm glad y'all brought up a wonderful segment today. I love when I can go back and think about that stuff and remember how old I am right now.
We have a really good radio show, despite what some curmudgeons think.
But I mean, those were the best times, though, because I love the NCAA tournament. I love it now, though. But now, though, it's not the same because now it's because back then CBS was the only place that the games
there wasn't True TV, TNT.
Yeah, now it's multiple channels, and the game is not always on
TBS, TNT. Yeah,
the game's not always on CBS. The national champ, it's always
Well, I do like that. I will say this: what I do like about that now, when there's 4, is it used to be like if there was a game that was like going down to the wire, it wasn't a blowout. It wasn't in your area, in your region.
But they would
you couldn't watch
to it though.
But sometimes, but now you don't have to. You can just see the whole thing.
I know, but I always loved though. I mean, it was just, and it was always on late. It was always on till like 11 o'clock at night, 11:30 at night.
I mean, it's still late.
It was.
And I will say this: I love listening to Ernie and those guys. They can actually do both the NBA and college basketball.
And I get it, but I don't know. This is just me. I always loved it when they played on the college floors, and you got to see the different floors.
When they would instead of neutral floors.
Instead of the neutral floors, you always had the
Hey, don't
floors.
forget, man, what a lot of people still call the perfect game. In 1985, Villanova.
Yeah.
When they beat Georgetown after they had gotten whacked like 2 times, and it was 3 of the 4 teams was in the Final Four, and Villanova played the perfect game and is an 8 seed to win it all. I think that was at Rupp. I think it was actually on Kentucky's campus.
It was in Lexington. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I mean, you go back. I mean, they didn't start moving the championship games into these
huge arena, venues
where you're sitting on the very top.
You're sitting at the very top, and
you look like dogs.
And you need you need
binoculars.
You pay $1,500 to use your binoculars when you could be at home watching the sun. Okay,
Why not?
Why not?
We got it. Yeah. No. Anyway.
No, I might offend Philip, man. I can't say that.
We know he listens.
Yeah, we know.
But anyway, what?
Yeah, I called you that. You puke.
It's been whoa. I'm just looking at our friend Arthur.
Oh.
That's wow.
What do you do this?
Arthur Seaton's on the TV and he's dancing. He's looking good though.
There he is.
He's looking good.
I wear my sunglasses at night.
Because his future's so bright. Gotta get a break in. We're gonna talk SEC basketball when we come back.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Men's top 25 hoops tonight. Number 1, Houston, 17.5-point favorites at home against Wichita State. The Shockers plus 1,000. Number 4, UCLA by 11.5 at home against Arizona State. The Sun Devils plus 480. Wisconsin giving up 4.5 at plus 155 at home against number 5, Purdue. Number 8, Arizona favored by 2.5 at USC. The Trojans plus 115. Some smaller conference tournaments are already underway. Bigger conferences heading towards the regular season finale with some tight races. Logjam in the ACC with number 25 Pitt, number 16 Miami, and number 13 Virginia, all leading the way at 14-5. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Drew of Talkin' Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. And we've had some great conversations there in hour number 1. We spent time right out of the gates recapping Alabama-Auburn last night, an Alabama 90-85 overtime win over the Tigers inside Coleman Coliseum. We went over Vanderbilt's big win over Kentucky. We ran down the net rankings, the KenPom rankings, the updated rankings, the SEC standings. And I don't know. Maybe it's because I want it to happen. I don't know if it can happen. But our next guest might be able to help us. Can Vanderbilt jump into a top 4 seed? Is that mathematically possible? I don't know.
We don't know.
With one game left. I don't, with all the tiebreakers and possible things could happen.
Right.
I don't know if it could happen, but after last night's win against Kentucky, it makes me want to ask, can it happen?
Yeah, you definitely, you're going through the scenarios in your head. And our next guest does a great job with our good friend Blake Lovell, and they have an unbelievable YouTube channel that's growing and exploding, covering the Southeastern Conference in every angle, but especially basketball. That's one of the reasons that basketball and baseball, they started this over a year ago, southeastern14.com, and that's Chris Lee, and he also has been the publisher for over 20 years for VandySports.com, part of the Rivals Network, and Vandy's a big topic this morning after the stunner we saw last night in Rep Arena. Chris, welcome back to the show. Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you.
Okay, I was part of an unbelievable atmosphere last night at Coleman Coliseum. Alabama and Auburn, an NCAA tournament level game, back and forth. It was unbelievable. But then I'm from afar. I'm following the Vanderbilt Commodores. I'll be the first to admit, I'm thinking, okay, they're ahead in the second half, but can they hang on here? I didn't really think they could. They did it. Now they've got a chance to get to 18-13 if they beat Mississippi State. We put the cart before the horse the other day. They lost to LSU, but where does this Vanderbilt team stand right now? They're very, very polarizing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you mean where they stand.
Yeah, as far as do they have a chance here?
Look, they have to beat Mississippi State.
Right.
If they beat State, you can start the conversation. Probably depends on can they pick up another big win and avoid a bad loss in the tournament.
Yes.
And it may be, but the other thing is I think Liam Robbins is done for the year.
Oh, didn't know that.
Even if they have the resume, if they're right there on the bubble with some other teams, I have a feeling, I mean, and maybe it's not fair to them for what they accomplished, but you got to take the glasses off and say, what's the committee trying to do? If you got two teams that are right there in terms of resume, and one's got its best player and one doesn't, I have to think that works against Vandy. I think it's just going to be a slim chance for them, but that's why they play the games, and that's why the tournament committee debates it, and I guess we'll find out.
Is it out of the question that they could get a top 4 seed in the SEC tournament if Auburn goes on the road or not Auburn on the road, but if Auburn at home beats Tennessee and if other things happen? I mean, is Vanderbilt locked into playing as a 5, 6, 7, 8 seed, or can they get into a 4 spot?
I don't know. Let me pull it up as we're doing. I spent my late night math looking at the NCAA tournament rather than this one.
Yeah. I mean, but it's just amazing. Yeah. Wow.
See, I mean, wind up. They could still tie for third overall.
That is just crazy.
Wow.
It is crazy. I mean, I guess it depends on how many teams are involved. I mean, they split with Tennessee, which Tennessee would win, I think, the head-to-head there because Tennessee beat Alabama.
And Tennessee swept,
seed.
Yeah, Kentucky swept Tennessee,
Kentucky,
they split,
they split with Kentucky. Missouri beat Vanderbilt in one game they played. You get into 2-way and 3-ways, and it just the tiebreakers are different depending on how many teams are involved. But I mean, they could technically finish tied for third in the overall standings, which is unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. And you talk about with Liam Robbins now being out for the year. How remarkable though was that win? I mean, when we talked to you, several days ago, we talked about what a roller coaster it's been with Jerry Stackhouse this year, and the administration wanting him gone potentially. Then they warm up to him because the kids are how well they're playing, and then once again it happens. They lose at LSU, which it just seems inexplicable the way they were playing, and then they could turn around and win in Rupp Arena.
Yeah, I mean, look, January 31st, they lose 101-44 to Alabama.
Right.
They missed Tyler Lawrence in that game. Who's probably, in my mind, their second or third best player. If you had said to me that they're about to win 7 of the next 8 games, I think not only would I would have said you're crazy, I think the whole rest of the country would have said you're crazy. In that span, that includes wins over Tennessee, Auburn, and now Kentucky on the road. It has been unbelievable what they have done since then. Credit to Jerry Stackhouse. I have some issues with how he's built his program and maybe lack of effort at times, but you criticize where it's due and you give praise where it's due. And obviously he has done an unbelievable job in rallying his team from a point where it could have very easily fallen apart.
And then you look at the flip side. I know Kentucky's in. They're in the NCAA tournament. But it's still, just when you think that this Kentucky team down the stretch might be able to, and they still may be able to make some noise in the NCAA tournament, but it's just one of those things where you just can't figure out everything with Kentucky. And then John Calipari last night, in his postgame says he's too spent and leaves early on the radio interview, and the assistant coach finishes it up. I mean, what an interesting thing one loss is for Kentucky.
Yeah, first of all, that's pitiful. You're getting paid $9 million a year to deal with it one way or the other. To not have an extra 5 minutes to do radio is ridiculous. I'm curious as to how much last night hurts them. I was doing my bracketology late last night. I've still got them as the last team on the 6th line. But, man, it's precarious because they've got two things that don't work well. One of is their top-end wins are not what some of the other teams around them are. Another one is that they've got 3 losses in Quad 3 and Quad 4, and they've also got 10 overall losses. Now, the computers continue to love Kentucky. KPI has them 21. Strength of Resume has them. They've got them 21. KPI still got them at 19. The predictors all have them mostly in the top 20 or that range. So the computers think Kentucky is probably still a 5 seed. I dig in a little bit. I'm not quite as sure. What a weird year for them. I mean, they've had injuries too. They lost Casey Wallace last night. I don't know the severity of that, but look, Kentucky's going to be in the tournament. But when you start poking in on the resume, there's some issues there.
And Chris, as you were doing your bracketology, we just brought up Vanderbilt, how polarizing they are. How many teams can they get? 8? Or is it going to be 7? It seems to me to be at least 6, but a great shot at 7 and potentially 8.
Yeah, obviously Alabama's in, Tennessee's in, Kentucky's in, Missouri's in after last night, A&M's in. That's 5 for sure. Arkansas, despite a resume and not a ton of huge wins and a horrible road record. I look around, once you start getting in that range, everybody's got some flaws. I think Arkansas probably gets in even with the loss, but I don't know how the committee's going to treat an 8-10 team if they get there. Auburn, I got to do some more diving on. Him and Mississippi State. I think State wins in Nashville Saturday. I think State's in. I think Auburn wins. Auburn's in too. But
yes,
either of those teams lose, you don't know. I mean, I think it's 5 for sure with the potential of 8, but a lot depends on what those teams do and what teams around them do.
Yeah, and then Scott and I were looking at net and Ken Palm. With Vanderbilt, I know their net ranking is low. Is it just a situation where they just played a terrible non-conference?
No, they didn't.
So that's why I'm saying I'm not as versed in it. Why are they in the 80s if they didn't play a bad non-conference? Like, did they not get enough wins? I mean, I guess, but I was surprised.
Yeah, well, look, the net considers margin of victory. They've outscored opponents
gotcha.
by 5 points total the whole year. They've scored 2,100 and some odd points, and they've given up 5 fewer than that. That's the issue. Now, look, the net is a sorting tool. It's more to categorize who you beat and how impressive that is. And so the net number itself, I don't know that it matters as much as people always think. Now, look, if you got a net of 120, you're not going to be considered for at large. But you've seen teams in some years. I think one year the committee took St. John's at 73.
Oh, wow.
And left out NC State at 33. And it's when they dig into the body of work. And Vanderbilt's body of work, they've got some big wins, but they've also got 13 losses. They've got a quad 4 loss. They've got 2 quad 3 losses. They just haven't done enough on the whole, even as impressive as the recent streak is, to really compete with some of the other teams. But like I said, beat Mississippi State, and then they've got at that point maybe 6 wins over tournament teams, depending on how things break. You know, one of those is Auburn, one of those is Mississippi State. So maybe it's 4 wins over tournament teams. But I think it's the losses that have hurt them more than anything. I mean, don't lose to Grambling, get another win somewhere else, and I have a feeling they're really more a bubble team than the bubble of the bubble, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no question. And overall, I do think in some ways the SEC is a little down, especially the bottom of the league. It's still pretty good. Is it, in your mind, as you started delving into seeding these teams, where does the SEC rank as a conference right now? Certainly the Big 12 is number 1.
Yeah, I think I think the Big 12 is first. Big 10 is probably second.
Mm-hmm.
Probably go Big East over the SEC, but it's close. I mean, the SEC's got more teams, and but the Big East is probably a little more top heavy in terms of number of teams. I mean, it's those 4, and it's a big drop off to everybody else. I think Pac-12 would probably be next. You know, they got a couple of really good teams in UCLA and Arizona, but other than that, it's Southern Cal and not much else. I may be forgetting somebody, but yeah, I think it's clearly those 4, and in my mind, it's probably 12, Big 10, and then SEC and Big East in some order, depending. But I don't know. You could even argue 2, 3, and 4, but 1 is not arguable.
Well, and see now,
where do you think of Missouri? What should we think of Missouri?
Yeah.
What should we think, or what's the committee going to think?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, what do you think they're thinking?
Well, when I look at it, and I'm probably on an island here. We were just doing a bracketology video a few minutes ago. I think Missouri, most people had them as a 10. I think they're more along the lines of an 8 right now, with a case to be a 7.
Wow.
Because if you look at it, they don't and again, it's when you dig in, guys.
Yeah.
They don't have a loss outside of quad 1. Now, the predictive computers hate them because they've lost some games in blowouts. They don't play much defense. But if you look at what they've done, there's nobody that outside like the 1 to 2 seed range. I don't know if there's anybody's got a cleaner sheet, quad 2, 3, and 4 than Missouri. there's some teams in quad 2 and 3 that don't have as clean, or seed line 2 and 3 that don't have as clean a resume as Missouri in terms of bad loss avoidance. They've got big wins: Tennessee, Kentucky, Iowa State, Arkansas, Illinois, Mississippi State. The Tennessee win and the Illinois win away from home. I mean, those are the two things that the committee is really going to look at, I think. You don't lose to bad teams and you beat good teams. I think Missouri, in my mind, is an 8 right now, and maybe even a 7. I think I'm probably on an island with that, but when I look and compare, that's how I sort through it.
And now, if Alabama had lost last night, Alabama-Texas A&M would have been the marquee game because it would have been for the SEC regular season championship and the 1 seed. Alabama sewed that up. It's still a big game at 11 a.m. on Saturday. But now we have Auburn and Tennessee at 1 p.m., and then we have Vanderbilt and Mississippi State. Are those the 3 marquee games? Because there's so much at stake for teams jockeying, especially now with Auburn and Tennessee. Zakai Ziegler out for the Vols. Sounds like Dylan Cardwell out for Auburn. And then you talk about Liam Robbins and Vanderbilt not being there for Vandy, but Vandy still finds a way to beat Kentucky. And now Vandy takes on Mississippi State and could knock the Bulldogs out of the tournament.
Yeah, let me go over the whole thing and make sure we're not missing anything here. Yeah, Vandy State obviously wins. I think State's in. Vandy wins, then you can maybe continue the dream sequence, and State's got some issues. Alabama A&M, it's intriguing for its own reasons. That might knock A&M up a seed line with the win there. Alabama, I don't think is really affected. Other than that, to me, the conversation for the 1 seed right now, probably Alabama and Kansas. And I look at Kansas as big wins, and I'd probably put Kansas over Alabama. Maybe Saturday can change that. Georgia, South Carolina doesn't mean anything. Tennessee, Auburn means a ton for Auburn.
Yes.
And maybe a little bit for Tennessee. Tennessee's trying to make that argument to move from a 3 to a 2, and I think it's right on the border. You got the Ziegler injury, but you also got the other side of the coin, and that Tennessee played without Josiah Jordan-James a good bit.
And
also
Phillips,
Julian Phillips. So even as they lose the one, they're getting 2 back. I don't have any idea how the committee sorts that out. Kentucky, Arkansas has got implications. I think Arkansas probably in at this point, but if they lose that game to Kentucky, they're 8-10 in the league. Will the committee hold that against them? We'll wait and see. You got an injury situation there with Nick Smith. Missouri Ole Miss implications. You don't want to take a bad loss if you're Missouri. I think the Tigers are in regardless. And LSU Florida means nothing other than, LSU would be nice for them to maybe get a win, but that's in the O'Connell Center. And Florida's played pretty well without Castleton. I've been a little surprised with that, but I think you've got a lot at stake.
No question, and it's going to be fully covered with Southeastern14.com. You and Blake Lovell, this is your time of year. You guys are locked in. Let everybody know how to cover and follow you guys, my friend.
Yeah, we're doing a ton of stuff right now. We're doing a bracketology video this morning. We did a recap of last night that I think we've already put up. We'll be doing a video, I think, on SEC tournament seedings and how the tiebreakers could go. We've still got to sort through that. Baseball. Yeah, there's baseball being played. We're talking about that, too. We did some football stuff yesterday. I was not involved in that, but we're keeping up with all the moving parts on the football side. And, go to YouTube, search Southeastern 14, and you can find us there.
Thank you, Chris. We always appreciate it.
Yeah, hey, thank you guys.
All right, thanks. Chris Lee there. We've got to get a break in. When we come back, the NCAA, you'll love this. You will love this. Speaking of you, Drew, love this when we come back. I promise.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Scott O'Reck reported Jordan and Maston Lake. It's coming in with possible injuries. Winchester and Homer Nance had injuries, still may be trying to clear it. And it looks like there's still a big backup in Morgan County. Had an overturned trailer about the 329 that's down around Hartselle 36. That traffic was backed up past the 332 last time I looked. Snelling needs customer support reps for Northeast Huntsville, $15 an hour. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
Hello, listeners. My name is Jonathan Dunwoody, and I own Minuteman Press. We are a full-service print shop that is locally owned and operated. I have personally been handling direct mail for over 17 years and have a great relationship with the USPS. We are the only print shop in the area that is listed as a print provider on their website and the only printing franchise that can use their logo as our partner on marketing materials. We can help from conception to design, print, and delivery to the post office. And with our easy, secure online payment option, you don't even need to leave your office. Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
The Huntsville Sports Commission is responsible for bringing high-level sports entertainment to the Rocket City. In 2023, enjoy events like the CCSA Beach Volleyball Championships, Hometown Lenders Championship, UCI Paracycling Road World Cup, and so much more. To learn more about upcoming events and the Huntsville Sports Commission, visit huntsvillesports.com. The Huntsville Sports Commission. We do sports. Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
The college basketball regular season is winding down, and the football specials at Humphreys Bar and Grill are now going to extend into basketball season with football specials during every Auburn and Alabama basketball games. Don't miss Humphreys game day specials from $2.75 Miller Lite, Yingling, Coors Light pints, $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold pints. Anytime Auburn or Alabama is on the screen. Humphreys, always a party, never a cover. Located online at humphreysdowntown.com.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Chad, cue the cheesy Italian music. So you're in charge of the dinner spot, and the family is a hard group to please. Dad wants award-winning 21-day age certified Angus beef. Mom craves authentic Italian food like great-grandma. Sissy pretty much won't eat anything but fresh seafood. And old life of the party, Uncle Walter, likes to enjoy a cigar after dinner with some live local entertainment and some killer cocktails. So you think you're in a pickle? Well, you're not. Relax. I'm Tom Chapman, chef at Nick's Ristorante at 10300 Bailey Cove Road, just south of Weatherly. We have all that and more. Our friendly and helpful staff is eager to help you Tuesday through Saturday, starting at 5. So, corral that crazy crew of yours and give us a call at 256-489-8280 or tell them to check us out at nicksristorante.com. I promise you, the gang will all think you're a culinary cruise director of awesomeness if you take them all to Nick's. See you soon. Ciao. Okay, Chad, kill that music.
Nick's is for patrons 19 or older.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN. The Zone, Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, and I have something that'll make you very happy. 2 weeks ago, Texas A&M launched the 12th Man Plus Fund. Okay, it's basically another souped-up NIL thing for Texas A&M.
For Dirt Neck to cheat.
Yeah. Well, the NCAA sent out a memo yesterday, and it didn't specifically say Texas A&M, but it wanted to remind all of the schools that that you cannot provide resources, points towards basically you are prohibited from providing resources such as tickets to events, priority access, seating and personnel,
Hawaiian vacations
to NIL entities unless they are available to other parties. And this is because Texas A&M, when they launched their 12th Man Plus Fund, was giving people, it was going to allow donors to receive priority points, which impact new or upgraded season ticket selections and ticket access to games. So basically, the NCAA is paying attention to what is going on in the NIL. Now, what can they do about it? I don't know, but they are paying attention to what is going on specifically at Texas A&M.
Yeah, I don't know,
Just wanted to
man.
let you know that they are.
I wonder where the Ags. I mean, they've already had half that recruiting class leave because they weren't being developed and probably didn't get half of what they were, promised.
But anyway, just wanted to let you know that they are paying attention. And let's go out to the phone lines. Richard is with us this morning. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, guys. Drew, on the net, I am not a net expert, but I think it's wins and losses, where you win and lose, but then there are efficiency factors. And the NCAA has not released it because basically the old RP and we're scheduling kind of accordingly and I guess running up scores accordingly. They kind of figured out the system. But the net, so somebody like an Alabama, like you were talking to, Chris Lee, beating Vandy and Georgia by 50 points, you're going to build up all these, which to me is kind of dumb.
Yeah.
But you build up all these efficiencies by blowing these teams up. Because they used to have a factor even about you got more points or whatever by blowing people out, where I think they cap it at 10 points now.
Yeah, it's
so
a game results, strength of schedule, game location, scoring margin, net offensive and defensive efficiency, and quality of wins and losses, which is the quad 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, but like I said, they don't know. I mean, I'm sure Alabama's guys are really into all the efficiency. They may have figured out some of the formula, but like I said, the NCAA has not released it. Trying to keep you from playing the system.
Yeah.
So, Drew, did you go to the press conference after the game last night?
Yeah, we were there at the press conference.
You didn't get Joseph Goodman to get his question answered, get his feelings hurt?
Well, I was sitting next to Joseph Goodman. It turned out after moving around 3 or 4 times trying to position myself in the press conference, still didn't get called on. But
did you see what he wrote last night? Joseph Goodman. Afterwards, Joseph Goodman put out on Twitter that he was in the press conference room. He had his hand raised according to media protocol.
Yeah,
he did everything right, but Alabama refused to call on him.
Right. They didn't call on me either. I mean, I didn't get called on. There was probably not as many questions as usual. It took Coach Oates a while, probably 45 minutes to come back there and speak with us, and he certainly gave us his time. But you could tell he was exhausted, but certainly. It was forthright and forthcoming, and I could tell it was a big deal because another good friend of ours was there. He did not raise his hand to ask a question, though, Scott, but Ross Dellinger was there from Sports Illustrated.
Ross, I knew Ross was there.
Yeah, so, and he's usually college football. He's usually national stories, and I guess they consider Alabama a national story still. But, yeah, Joseph Goodman.
Speaking of Coach,
was there with me.
Can you believe what he did? I mean, that he let all his team and his coaches and his daughters climb a ladder with scissors.
Yeah, I saw Coach Oates' daughter. Yeah,
I can't believe that they put themselves all in danger with those scissors last night.
I mean, Kamala Harris's press secretary will probably have something to say about that if she sees the video at some point.
Yeah, no,
What does she have to do with Alabama basketball?
Because it's the idiots running the country, because they'll probably make a big deal out of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so they'll find something to pick on, and I'm just going to let them climb a ladder with scissors. That'll probably be the big thing now.
Yeah.
To come up with. You got to come up with something else. To keep it in the news.
At least Nate Oates wasn't too spent and was able to do the whole entire press conference.
Yeah, and there was no players. They didn't make any players available, to talk to the media. And that wasn't
my bad. The rationale for John Calipari wasn't spent. He was beat down and tired. Those were his words. Beat down and tired last night. And he could only do one segment of his radio show last night after the game. He was too beat down and tired.
One thing on Calipari, that's not in Southern Indiana, the after the game show is like an hour of calls. So, I'm not saying you shouldn't have done it, but it's not, it's not just 2 minutes. It's an hour or so after the game. He takes, I guess calling, and I think the fans can stay at Rupp Arena, and ask questions there. So, it's kind of a big deal, but it is an hour or so, maybe even longer after the game. So, like I said, it's not, a 2-minute press conference like what Drew went with, Oates last night. This is an actual, I guess a call-in show after the press conference is over. So, and I'm sure it's not a lot of fun after a loss at home, too. So.
No, it's not. All right, Richard. Hey, dude, it's 8:30.
Okay.
We are up against a break.
You.
We got to get a break in. Nick Kelly is going to join us on the flip side, recap Alabama's SEC championship win last night over Auburn inside Coleman Coliseum.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy, overcast sky through a good majority of the afternoon. We're going to maintain the opportunity for some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Some of those thunderstorms could be on the stronger end of the spectrum. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 60s. Some of us could see the lower 70s. Another opportunity for strong and severe thunderstorms moves into the Tennessee Valley as we head into Friday morning. Biggest concern here, going to be some incredibly gusty winds. Could be talking about wind gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour. Otherwise, scattered showers and thunderstorms through a good chunk of Friday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the upper 60s and lower 70s. That activity comes to an end Friday night. Saturday looks absolutely fantastic. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures hanging out in the lower 60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We've got traffic sitting still on I-65 southbound about the 332. It's because of an overturned trailer between the 328 and the 329. That traffic's not moving at all. Just got 565 westbound at the Parkway on the ramp to go northbound. No injury reported. 565 westbound at I-65. Got about 4 vehicles there, but they're off the side of the road. Jordan and Maston Lake reported with an injury. Still may be trying to get that one clear. No hose, no mask. You could ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Looking for future leaders we can trust and believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Alabama. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It begins by making their grades and being on time for practice. It includes learning to listen, following directions, accepting responsibility, being a good role model. And it's about respect for officials, opponents, the rules, and each other. The result? It transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. High school sports. There's so much more than just a game. This message presented by the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
New coordinators.
That's as good as money, sir.
New quarterback.
It's my quarterback.
Same coach.
And you all may be taking the week off, this week, but I'm not.
We are your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, DeArmond. Hanging out with you for 30 minutes. Last night, Alabama inside Coleman Coliseum remains perfect as far as home wins go. They've won now at least 16 games in conference play, Drew, 2 out of the past 3 seasons. And it's the 33rd time in program history that Alabama has swept Auburn in the regular season. And their combined home record over the past 3 years with the win last night moves it to 40-5.
Yeah, no question. It's been a remarkable run. Our next guest has been kind enough to join us. It was a late night for him last night as well. He does an outstanding job as the beat writer for the Tuscaloosa News and the keeper of the flame for that publication. He covers Alabama football, basketball. He's been on the beat since he arrived in Tuscaloosa a few years ago. He's a very kind soul and very good to us to join us this morning as it's a short turnaround. But Nick Kelly is on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline to talk about the significance of what we saw last night as he was on press row. Nick, welcome back. How are you?
I'm good. I mean, how could I not join if I get an intro like that? So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Your immediate thoughts. I mean, it was to me, and Nick, I've been doing this nearly 8 years now, and I've been on press row since that time, and it was probably the most miraculous comeback I've seen Alabama have since I've been covering that. And you've been on the beat now for a few years. To me, that was one of the more improbable Alabama wins I've ever seen.
Yeah, it seemed like it was trending to a loss. It really did. It just did not seem like Alabama's night. And when you're down 17 at one point, that's tough to come back against a good SEC team. And, Auburn's had some ups and downs, but this isn't, maybe an LSU this year or Ole Miss this year. That's a team that's been competitive with some of the best teams in the conference. So for Alabama to be down that much, it was not looking good, and you kind of had a feeling that, okay, this just is not their night. They're going to have to go win it against A&M. And then Javon Quinterly and company went to work.
Yeah, they did. It was remarkable.
And then, did they go to work? And Coach Nate Oates afterwards really talked about Javon Quinterly and really praised him because his role changed this year. Everything about it changed, but he seems to, he's adapted it well. He's embraced it, and now we're getting March, and this is where he's really stepping up.
Yeah, Nate Oates said that they got March JQ kind of making an appearance. And yeah, JQ, it has been such a different role for him because he was one of the main guys. When they had their run 2 years ago,
yes,
he was a star for that team. He was a big player for them, probably top 3 guy on that squad. And now he's a role player. He's kind of a guy that they need in certain ways, and he's great at setting up his teammates, which is what this team has needed most of the time because you have superstars like Brandon Miller, you have superstars like Mark Sears. So you need a guy who can get them the ball and run the offense and make other plays. And so for him to kind of take over last night when everyone else was struggling was huge. And that's where that depth comes in and is so key this season. Because normally, if it was this team last year where their 2 best players or their couple best players didn't have a great game, Alabama would have lost yesterday. But because, Brandon Miller's not having his best game, some other guys aren't maybe playing as well as they usually do. Okay, we'll turn to Javon Quinterly, who's going to put up 24 points. I think he had 6 assists. And the biggest stat was 0 turnovers. He didn't turn the ball over once. And he just had a performance that was reminiscent of what he was 2 years ago. And he's going to be key down the stretch. But they don't necessarily need him to be that. They need a guy who can make plays and set guys up. And he's done that well this year. And so, but for him to do that, to win the SEC, you could tell Nate Oates is just really happy because it's been him and Javon, the past over that span, just because there's been so much turnover on this team because of guys leaving and the guys coming in, and so it's kind of an old friend, if you will. It sounded like when Nate Oates was talking about him being able to do that together.
And we're talking to Nick Kelly of the Tuscaloosa News. Nick, I thought too. I don't know that enough was being made of Alabama and how they were able to navigate the ejections in the middle of this game in this 10-minute delay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on.
There's no question. Yes, absolutely.
Well, and then, the long wait, and then after all that kind of wait ended, also we just see Charles Bediako and Rylan Griffin leave the court. And it's like, oh,
yeah,
what happened there? So yeah, I mean, the fact that they did it with down 2 guys. I mean, to be fair, both teams kind of lost guys in different ways because you had guys getting foul trouble for Auburn, foul out, and you had Alabama lose 2 guys to ejection. And so, it was kind of, I don't want to say bare bones because you still have some other talented guys, but you don't want to be losing guys when you're in a battle in overtime, where you need guys, and when you're in a tough, physical, chippy game, when guys are picking up fouls, you need that depth. So the fact that Alabama did that is impressive, especially without Bediako, because Rylan Griffin, who's been really good at moments this year, that wasn't him yesterday. It hasn't been him, the last couple games. So, but Charles Bediako being, he's an elite rim protector. And one thing that kind of stood out to me, just a quick aside about him, is I asked Nate Oates, I think it was last week, how this defense stacks up to 2 years ago, because they're very comparable statistically. And he said kind of the difference is the defense 2 years ago, or 2 seasons ago, I should say, had a elite perimeter defender, Herb Jones. This team has good defenders, but not that same guy. But this team has, and Nate Oates mentioned him by name, was Charles Bediako as an elite rim protector. So for him to, that's not necessarily saying that that's Herb Jones and Charles Bediako on the same playing field, it's 1 for 1, but he was saying that's what Charles Bediako is to this defense, and that's huge praise. I mean, Herb Jones is a fantastic defender. So Charles Bediako, him being out was a big deal, and for them to still win without that was huge.
And Scott, I was going to mention this to you and Nick. It was also confusing because being there, Scott, on press row, Tony Giles, the PA guy, accidentally announced Sears had been ejected. And so when I saw him on the floor, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on? So it was really hard to kind of get a hold of what had happened.
It was chaotic, no doubt. And, of course, even more chaotic in a game that's back and forth, and there's plenty to watch in the court and plenty happening.
Yeah.
And then when you think of Alabama, I mean, you think of shooting the 3, but Alabama also had a lot of success getting into the paint last night, doubling up Auburn 44-22. Just shows you that this offense had the ability last night to get downhill.
Yeah, and they have to be able to if they're not going to shoot the 3. I mean, those are the 2 shots, essentially, that they go for. And the 3 has not been there. It was better last night than it was against Arkansas, but it still wasn't what they want to be, the rate they want to be hitting at. I think it was 23%, 25%? And so, yeah, I mean, Alabama has to get downhill and make those shots. And that's what they did against Auburn in the game in Auburn. When the 3 ball was not there, especially Jaden Bradley was key in that game in Auburn, and they had guys getting downhill in this one as well. So that's what's impressive about this team is they can beat you multiple ways, and if you take something out or if they're just not having a good night in a certain shot or from a certain player, someone else will step up or they'll find a different shot to make to find a way to win.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And I thought being able to cover this team, I've been to several games. You've been to all of them, especially in Coleman Coliseum, Nick. I thought at one point, though, it was the most emotional we've seen Nate Oates.
Yeah, I mean, he got a little choked up, I think. I can't remember the question, but he had to take a pause for a second just to kind of take it all in. So for him, yeah, it was – of course, there's been so much attention to the program, and just so much, I imagine, stress on Nate Oates. And so to have this moment of celebration, I think you could tell he was really enjoying it. And he was able to celebrate with his daughters as they helped him cut the nets. So that was kind of a cool moment for him. But, yeah, what a way to celebrate, especially because they could do it in front of the Coleman. I mean, technically Alabama could have won the SEC on Tuesday if Ole Miss had beaten A&M, which almost happened. And that would have been so anticlimactic for that to happen. So for it to happen against a rival at home in overtime in that fashion, I think was something that Nate Oates really relished, and I think everyone in Coleman who was wearing crimson relished.
And one of the reasons I wanted to hear from you today is I couldn't help myself. I didn't mention it to you last night, but the first thing when the buzzer sounded is I couldn't help but think about Cecil and what he would have written or said. And I know you had a chance to work next to him, and also it was great to have the mother of Luke Ratliff there, Charlie Wilson's family, the manager that tragically passed away. It was an emotional night all around because there was people missing there that you so wish had been a part of it.
No doubt, and I think I ask what Cecil would be thinking or wanting to write all the time, and frankly, I wish I could call him and ask him that kind of stuff. I'm sure you too, Drew. And
absolutely.
And yeah, because I actually wrote a story last night about kind of what Luke would have thought and what Charlie would have thought. And as I wrote that in the back of my head, I was thinking, man, what would have Cecil thought? And so yeah, it makes me sad, but it also I'm just kind of smiling at thinking how he would have. Cecil loved Alabama basketball, and he loved covering that team, and it definitely would have been fun to read his column or what he had to say, but unfortunately that's not the case, but still always thinking about him.
Yeah, absolutely. And we certainly think about your work and enjoy it and enjoy your takes on the Crimson Tide. We appreciate you for joining us. We know it's a quick turnaround for you this morning. We thank you for giving us a few minutes and giving us your thoughts on this 90-85 win for Alabama. Now they have a difficult road trip to Reed Arena, but they have won the SEC regular season, so they're going to be the 1 seed. We look forward to seeing you in Nashville as well. But let everybody know how to follow your work.
Yeah, my handle on Twitter is @_Nick Kelly, and TuscaloosaNews.com is where you can find our stuff. And yeah, Drew, thanks for having me, and I'm going to go grab another cup of coffee.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
See you guys. Thanks.
Let's get that final break in. When we come back here, tomorrow's headlines. Crank up the show when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It looks like traffic is still basically sitting still about the 332 southbound I-65 in Morgan County. It's almost down to Hartselle. Had an overturned trailer between the 328 and the 329 on the southbound side. That's what's been causing all this problem. 565 westbound at the Parkway ramp to go northbound's a no injury. 565 westbound at I-65's 4 vehicles, but no injury reported there. 53 in Reddy section in Maston Lake and Jordan may still be trying to clear. Also had some injury at Winchester and Homer Nance. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Flow Trampoline Park is your one-stop fun spot for your next birthday party. Whether you're a boy, girl, kid, or adult, Flow has you covered. Party packages allow up to 25 plus guests, so you'll be able to bring all of your friends. And with all the fun competition to be had at Flow, maybe enemies too. Party packages will give you access to 60 minutes of jump time, grip socks for all guests, a private party room, and a party coordinator. Flow is behind South Parkway and Drake, behind Cracker Barrel. For more information, go to flowhuntsville.com. Get jumping with Flow.
Rambo Marine in Hazel Green is your one-stop shop for all things boating. Whether you are ready to surf with the newest Malibu wake boat or cruise on a Cobalt or Barletta pontoon, we have a boat ready for you and your family. Rambo Marine provides exceptional service second to none, so that you are ready to hit the water in no time. Stop by Rambo Marine today. We know boats.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, a couple headlines here just to whip through them really fast because we got callers waiting on the line. Charlie Strong added to an analyst on the Alabama football staff.
That's right.
High school basketball, plenty going on yesterday, plenty going on today. Congratulations to Buckhorn. They are through to the championship game. They're going to take on Mountain Brook. They got by McGill-Tulane 65-57.
33 points, 14 rebounds for Caleb Holt.
Yeah, just a freshman, folks.
Yep.
Scottsboro falls to Valley 70-51. So that's the 5A. That was a 5A semifinal game. 6A girls, Hazel Green, congratulations. They are through. They will take on Huffman. Hazel Green got by McGill-Tulane 49-22. That's 6A. 5A, Arab.
The Lady Knights.
They are through. They got by Brubaker Tech 52-49. They will take on Pleasant Grove, who beat Charles Henderson. Today, the Sparkman girls will play at noon in the 7A semifinals. And then tonight you get your first championship crowned. 1A boys, Covenant Christian.
Trying to repeat.
Oakwood Academy.
Oakwood Academy of Munchville.
5:45.
Yep.
So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry not to spend a lot of time on that, but we want to get to Johnny on his cell. Good
What's
morning,
up, Johnny?
Hey, good morning, guys. So, Alabama fan bases are like two different fan bases that are famous. Our basketball fans, we feel like the Cubs. I mean, look, in 1976, I watched Alabama beat North Carolina by 15, go against Bobby Knight's squad, watch Leon Douglas miss 2 free throws and a blown basket underneath and fall by 5 to a team that, won it all. And that began my journey as a Cubs fan because, I had to see Rick Pitino's Providence team.
Yeah.
I had to see Loyola Marimont's Hank Gather's team. I had program teams that I thought were Elite Eight, that I thought could get to Final Fours, that never got there. And I'll say this group of guys that are playing together now have a toughness factor that is hard to describe.
Yeah.
You're down 16 in Houston and you win on the road. You're down 17 at Auburn, you come back and win an improbable game. this team refuses to quit, has depth everywhere, and I'm like the eternal optimist. I'm hoping that these guys are going to finally get me that championship. Of course, my football team, I feel like I'm the Yankees. I mean, 27 titles, 28 titles, I don't know. We win. That's all we do is win. So, it's one of those things that I've had a lifetime of being an Alabama fan, and I feel like I've been a split personality when it comes to these two sports.
Yeah, it is. And this seems to be a special group. They've still got to, leave their legacy and what they're going to do in the postseason. But it was a testament to the mental toughness they've showed all year. What they did last night, Johnny, no doubt.
So I appreciate you guys. I love the show. My son, like I said, is the beat writer for the Crimson White in basketball. He was there. He went to Houston. He been to LSU. He went to Nashville. He's had a lifetime of memories already with his team. And he's hoping to make more memories in Nashville and in Houston again. So, I'm pulling hard for him, and maybe he's the lucky charm they needed.
Thank you, Johnny. Let's get to Bama Bino real fast. Good morning,
What's up,
Bama
Bino? Hey, man.
Hey, guys, great show. We're blessed in Alabama with high school basketball, high school football, college basketball. We're just really blessed. And how'd you like that Plainview game?
Oh, it was tremendous. I mean, I'm not surprised they won, and I thought it was going to be them in midfield, and they've had quite a few battles over the years, and that's what it's going to come down to on Friday.
They ought to put one patch over Robbie Coker's eye. He's that good. And,
yeah, he is, man.
It's just great. But just to comment on one of you callers yesterday, I wasn't able to call in. I was listening. I've never not called there. If y'all are against a heartbreak, I've been, cut short on, but y'all have always been courteous and friendly, and that goes for the whole staff there at 97.7. I never saw you be disrespectful to anybody that had a different opinion unless they were giving comments that were just so blatant that it's obvious they voted for Biden and Harris. I mean, my goodness, when you have something that says it's so bad, it's hard not to say something. Y'all are great people, and I'll be at the game tomorrow.
All right, man.
Thanks.
I hope to see you.
I wonder who that could be in reference to.
I don't
know.
Dang.
Phillip, maybe?
Maybe.
I guess. That would be the only caller that was an idiot yesterday.
Right.
I guess. Yeah.
Well, now he'll be mad. Now he'll figure out who's Scott, who's Drew, who's Scott, who's Drew. I can't tell the difference. I can't even tell the difference. Scott and I look alike. We sound alike. We're like the Beard Brothers.
We look alike.
Tell us apart.
We look alike.
We do.
Yeah, what?
We do.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Are you tired of listening to your favorite musician sing her favorite songs? Now Tom Abraham speaks Rihanna.
When the sun shines, we'll shine.